Welcome back to another episode of Talk of the Town podcast. I'm your boy Chillz, and you know what we do, all right? We sit down with people that's moving, shaking, and doing things in the city. And somebody who is definitely doing some positive things in the city is my girl Lakeland from ReNForce. Welcome to Talk of the Town, man.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you also for showcasing the work that ReNForce is doing. We want to be a part of the community, so thank you for shedding spotlight on us.
Listen, now not only is Lakeland a guest, but she's our neighbor here in the studio. So her office is like 2 doors down. So I had to have her on first because you got to make sure you take care of your neighbors. You feel me?
What the Bible say? Love your neighbor like yourself.
That's right.
There you go.
So she actually came in while I was setting up and getting the office together and all that, and you kind of informed me and schooled me on some of the things that ReNForce is doing, and this is some stuff that I didn't know anything about. So I'm like, listen, we got to get you on a podcast so we can talk about it.
Absolutely.
So for those who have not heard of ReNForce, who are you and what do you do?
Okay, so ReNForce, we were founded by our executive director, Charlotte Garnes, to help people, to help reduce barriers for people reentering. We started with workforce development because she found that after she was reentering society, she was looking for jobs. She got a job.
Okay.
But then they fired her once they found out about her background.
All right, so let's break it down real quick. I know we just got to talking about that. So what do you mean re-entering the workforce?
Okay, so for those who don't know what re-entry means, essentially re-entry just means that you are coming from some type of incarceration, whether that's prison, transitional homes, or jail. Re-entering just means that you are coming from incarceration and moving your way back into society.
Okay. So Charlotte found out that it was, it was an issue and it was hard to try to do that. So that's where ReNForce was kind of based off of.
Yes, because for a lot of people, trying to gain employment is a really big barrier for them. Because to get employment, is to get paid. Right,
absolutely.
So when you can't get paid,
what you gonna do?
You can't find no housing. You can't get no car. And if you don't have a car or transportation, how do you get to your probation or your parole? And if you get there, how you gonna pay them? So just having a job in general is pivotal to people who are reentering.
But shouldn't there be programs that help people to get that done, to make them productive citizens of society? So shouldn't there be already some type of program once they're released to help them with that?
There should be.
Okay.
All right
now.
There should be. And I won't deny that there are organizations across Georgia who do work like that. But we found, especially here in the South, that south part of Georgia, that there really isn't many programs like that.
Really?
And so we found, especially here in Augusta, with Augusta having the largest or the highest, let me say, incarceration rate in the state, you would think that we would have many organizations or programs put in place, whether through the city or through other nonprofits. But no, it has not been many. ReNForce is probably one of the very few in Augusta doing this type of work.
Wow. So when it comes to people transitioning back into the workforce, right, what is that one area that really prohibits them from getting a job? Is it, hey, what is this gap on your resume? Or is that really where the questions and the probing kind of starts?
Honestly, I would love to tell you though, this is the one big thing for people when it comes to employment. Because people do ask the question like, what is this gap in your schedule? In your resume? What is this? And it would benefit you to explain it to them to help them understand, right? But if you're dealing with an employer who does not understand what it means to be incarcerated or the barriers that you're facing, when you tell them, oh, that's because X, Y, and Z, most times they X you from that,
Now, I know honesty is the best policy, right? But what if you just lie?
If you lie, but you got to think, most jobs run background checks.
They're going to run a background check.
And so that's what a lot of people have actually been running into. Have you heard of Ban the Box before?
I have recently, which I want to talk about that a little later.
Okay.
So I did get kind of hip to that. But shouldn't it be, it's almost kind of like HIPAA with medical records. Shouldn't it kind of be like that with people that, especially for certain jobs? I know certain jobs, you know, the background has to be a certain way, but like for your average job, shouldn't it kind of be, I'm not going to say sealed, but shouldn't it kind of be like one of those things where they shouldn't be able to disqualify you based upon that?
Well, if we're talking about what should happen,
there we go with the should
then
again.
Of course that should be a thing, right? But that's also a policy thing. When you look at the last legislative session, you saw all these different bills that were geared and centered towards attacking things like that. Like, how do we ensure that they walk in on the same playing field as everybody else? Right. And so a lot of the things that we're doing, like they just passed, don't get me to lie about the bill number, but they just passed something for licensure here in the state of Georgia. Because it used to be, now people don't tell you this, but you know how you got those guys coming out of jail and they know how to cut hair.
Right.
They got to ask how many of them have they been able to get their licenses.
So they have not been able to get them? Because
you can go through the program, you can get the training and all of that, but you have to sit for the board. So if you don't have, so for some boards, if you have like a felony or depending on what your offense is, you can't sit for that. But you've studied, you've done the hours, you got the know-how, but you just cannot sit. Or we found that people, they are eligible to get the license, right? But by the time it's time for them to sit for their board or their exam, now they're getting released.
Wow. So and they have to start all over again?
Start all over again. And so for a lot of people, that was a deterrent. That is a deterrent. And so when we're talking about like how do we decrease barriers, really one of the biggest things is ensuring that if we're going to tell people, hey, you can get a job when you can get out. Actually, you can provide for yourself through getting a license of some sort. And then when they get out, they can't get it. How defeating is that?
Right.
Like imagine getting out like, oh, you know what? I know I ain't got to go back to that lifestyle. I got something.
Right.
And then they get out and say, oh, you can't do it. What would that do to your morale?
Right. It's like, you know what? The streets is always going to be welcoming me with open arms.
I ain't got to have no license for
that.
Right,
that's right. I don't got to sit in front of no board. So, yeah. Okay, so it seems like there's kind of multiple things that are barriers for those, you know, get back into the workforce. What are some of the additional services that you guys kind of offer to help with that?
So at ReNForce, we started doing workforce development. So we do that with helping cater their resumes.
Okay.
We help people do career training. So like we just recently had like a customer service class. We've also had serve safe classes for people too. So what we try our best to do is not only help you, you know, get a resume or teach you how to interview, but we also want to equip you with skills. So when you walk in the room, they also understand, oh, this person is serious because like they have training and qualifications behind their name.
Right.
And so we do that. We also have our own transitional housing here in Augusta. It's called Redemption House for Women. Because I don't know if you know, but there are very limited options here in Augusta for women reentering.
Really?
Yes. We have many transitional homes for men, many organizations that support men, but not many that support women. I want to say ReNForce. I don't want to say the only one.
Right.
But we're definitely one of the only ones who have transitional housing for women.
And that kind of stuff is not set up for them once they are released. So it's kind of like when people are released, it's like, okay, good luck with everything.
Yeah, like, okay, so the way we do our transitional housing, most people to get in, they have to interview, do an intake, all of that while they're still incarcerated. So when they get out, they have somewhere to go. Like we could have somebody who's getting out in 2041 emailing us like, hey, can I be a part of your house?
Right.
Because they already know the housing is going to be slim for them when they get out. So we realized that like the women here in Augusta, a lot of them were either going homeless. A lot of them were either returning recidivism or returning back to incarceration. Or we found that a lot of these women just could not get out. Because if you don't have somewhere to stay, you cannot get out.
Can't get out of what?
Jail or prison. If you don't have somewhere to stay, you can't go.
Really?
Yes. So like if you go to prison, they'll say, okay, that's great. In order to get out, you need to have somewhere to live. But you can't go live with your mama. Because let's just say it's domestic related. It could be family domestic or romantic. They could tell you, oh, because this happened, when you get out, you can't go back to that person's home or wherever that person is. And if y'all living together, y'all got kids together, or you living with your mama and you and your siblings got into it, now where you gonna go?
So they'll just keep you in.
Yes. You know how many people, and I'm not even trying to be funny, but do you know how many people currently are in, not even, let's take prison out of it. How many people are in jail in Augusta right now because they cannot pay to get out, or they don't have anywhere to go?
So what does that look like? Is it like on a month-to-month basis, like you have somewhere to go this month? No? All right, well, you have to stay here another month. Or is it just until you find somewhere?
Just until you find somewhere. So, like, if you say, oh, okay, I found somewhere, they would be like, okay, now let's start the process and the paperwork. They call to verify, like, is this a legit thing?
Right.
And once it's verified, then, they'll let you out. But let's just say they can't get people on the phone for X amount of time. You still sitting there. Or if your release date is coming up and they still haven't been able to verify them, now your release date is getting pushed back even more. So it's a process. Truly, it's a process.
So does ReNForce kind of help with people when they're incarcerated to transition them to get out and to kind of help them during that process of them being incarcerated until they get out? Or is it just when they get out that you guys step in?
So currently, right now, what we do is when they are re-entering, but we are looking to get into helping them set themselves up for when they do get out. So we want to start working with them while they're incarcerated, to start looking for a job, to start thinking about what could housing be, to start thinking about, oh, when you get out, will you need mental health help? And if you do, what kind of help? We are venturing out so that we can make sure that people actually are set up for success when they before they get out, because we don't want people to go back. Because a lot of times when people come to our office, if they don't leave, sometimes when they don't leave with a job that day, because we're going to do intake first. We want to know about you,
right?
See how you're doing. Because a lot of people, I'm just here for a job. But you can come in looking for a job, but before we get you a job, we need to make sure that you feel comfortable and safe around people.
Right.
Because, when you're incarcerated, you live by different rules.
That's right.
So when you get out, we want to make sure, hey, is your mind right first?
Right.
Is your body good? Because you want to work a job that's 12 hours, but your body can't handle that. Right?
Wow.
And so we don't just want you to go get a job. We want you to get a job and keep it. Mm-hmm. Because that's the only way you're going to stay out. Because anybody can get a job. We can go down to McDonald's right now, I'm sure.
That's
no
right.
shade to McDonald's. Love y'all. Okay? But we could go down and get a job right now. But to sustain a job, we have to make sure that the people are whole first. And that's what we do at ReNForce. That's the first thing we do.
And it's so crazy because there's so many things we don't think about when it comes to incarceration and getting out. It's like, oh, you getting out. All right, you back outside. We don't think about all this little stuff. Now, you said that one thing is they have to find somewhere to go or they stay in jail or prison. And the other thing is if they can't pay. Now, what's the money thing about?
So now this is where what I like to talk about, because I think sometimes this is what we're missing, right? So say the judge says, okay, you are required to pay $10,000 in fines and fees, right? That's the judgment. You got to pay that in restitution, $10,000.
Okay.
When you get out, you have to pay probation, whatever you got to pay probation, because what people forget is when you go to probation, you have to pay every time you go.
And that's separate from the $10,000.
Separate from the $10,000. So you paying probation, their money, and then you still got to pay that $10,000. And even after you pay that $10,000, depending on where you are, it is possible. Like, so say you have to do. They say I'll give you probation for 6 months, but the judge says, well, when you pay off your fine or whatever, I'll let you off. So say you pay your fine off in 2 months. But he said, but I'm gonna put you on there for 6. They'll make you do the last 4 months just so that you can pay them probation fees.
So it's kind of like a money trick.
Yeah, because like for instance, here in Augusta, we have a for-profit probation service. So that means the judge could say, I'm not gonna give you no fines and fees, and I'm gonna give you community service, but you have to report to your probation officer because you're on probation, right? Whenever you report, you got to pay $50. The judge says you have to pay nothing. So somebody could wind up in front of the judge, and the judge would be like, "Why are you here?" "Oh, I didn't pay my fines." "What fines? I didn't give you any." "Ah, the probation fines."
Now, the probation, is that like a for-profit company, or is that somehow connected to the government?
So our particular company is for profit, but there are some that are nonprofit. We used to have a nonprofit probation service, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
But we changed it out, and now we have a for-profit. But that for-profit probation service works within the prison industrial complex, right? Because if I know that you don't have a job because you've been locked up for let's just even say 2 weeks, because Georgia's at will.
That's right.
So let's just say you're there for 2 weeks. I know you don't have a job, right? And once you get out for 2 weeks, name an employer who's going to hire you the day you get out.
Right.
So it's going to take me time to find a job. And they know that. They can absolutely understand. But they choose not to. Okay, well, I understand you don't have no job. I understand you can't pay. But I'm still going to charge you $50 every time. And if you come and don't have the $50, you get in trouble. So a lot of people just skip it.
Right.
Because I don't have the money to give you, but you still get in trouble. So really, it's a lose-lose.
I'm in the wrong industry. Man, because they, for them, it's money in the pocket every time somebody comes. Yeah. Now, how often do people have to report to their probation officer?
It depends.
It depends.
Some people once a week. Some people once every 2 weeks, once a month.
Once a week? Now, just say I get released. No, we're going to use Tad, for example. I don't want to put that on me. We'll put that on Tad.
Yeah.
So say Tad, gets out on May 1st. When will his first probation meeting? Do they give you like a month or two to kind of...
No. If you get out May 1st and they say, oh, you need to meet with your probation officer once a week, you get out May 1st, that week you need to be meeting with your probation officer, and you need to have money in hand. Now, if you have a nice probation officer, they may be like, I understand that you don't have it this time.
Right.
But there's only so many times you can miss not paying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is it like a large amount of people that end up going back because they can't pay probation?
You are asking some really good questions, Chili. Let me tell you why. Because when we look at the data for the people here in Augusta, because I will only speak for the people here in Augusta.
Okay.
When we look at the data, we see that by and large, majority of the people who are incarcerated right now are just in there because they can't pay probation, fines, or fees.
No.
Yes. And now there's rhetoric that says, oh no, the people who are in there are violent criminals.
Right, yeah. They deserve to be in there.
No. When you look at the data, there are people who are in there because they didn't have insurance on their car or lacked registration.
Right.
There's more people in there for that than murder.
Wow.
So when we talk about things being violent or crimes being violent, most people who are in there because of probation, fines, and fees, they haven't committed a new crime. They are just in there literally because they cannot afford to pay.
And what's a typical, I guess, sentence if you can't pay your probation fines or whatever? Is it like, listen, you got to go on for another month or 2 months or until you can come up with the money?
No. So if you can't afford to pay, it truly just depends on the judge.
Okay.
Because if you can't afford to pay, let's just take out the fact that the judge gave fines and fees. So let's just say the judge doesn't give any fines and fees. The only fees that you have are from the probation office. The judge could either discharge you from probation, which is rare, because we know that this money.
Right.
So it's rare that you get discharged. They may give you more time to come up with it. I've seen that happen. But you also more than likely will have a judge to say, oh, you can't afford to pay? Oh, you don't have a job? Well, you'll sit your sentence out.
So the rest of the sentence?
Yes. You'll sit your sentence out. You go ahead. You don't have to worry about paying. We will make sure we get our money by having your body in here, and you're going to do work for us.
Wow. It's crazy because this is an area that I'm totally ignorant in. So it's like so much of the stuff going on, and I don't think your average person even knows, like, I'm not going to say crooked, but how it's kind of, it's a real big barrier.
Yeah, so that's so funny because last Wednesday, April 25th, I believe, we had a simulation I say April 25th is the 22nd. April 15th. That's what it was.
I was about to say, am I tripping on the...
No, April 15th. We had a simulation, a re-entry simulation, where we invited people from the community to experience the barriers.
Wow.
Right? And so as people are going through this simulation, so because the way the simulation was set up is you come in and you get a jacket. And inside of your jacket, it tells you your name, your age.
Right. It gives you a situation. Yeah. Yep.
But then you have to go throughout this simulation and do your best to stay out of jail, because you have to try to get an ID. People don't understand how hard that is and how necessary an ID is.
Right.
You got to figure out transportation. You got to figure out housing. You have to figure out, what am I going to do for medicine? What happens if I have to go, if part of my probation is I have to do drug testing or get drug treatment? How do I get there? How do I get that? How do I afford to do that?
Right.
And so as people were going throughout the simulation, so many people were coming up to me like, oh my gosh.
I'm stuck.
Yeah.
I don't know what, right.
So we had people going to jail like, well, I don't even know how I got here.
Right,
like,
yeah.
They were like, this was so easy for me to get caught back up, and this was just for play, like a simulation.
Right.
Imagine this having real implications for real people.
Wow.
Like imagine how easy it is for us. Like if we got pulled over right now, license and registration, how easy it is for us to get our license. Like we'll just pull it out our wallet.
Right.
Imagine them getting pulled over, even if you just in a car with somebody and
they want to see the ID. Yeah.
I don't have it.
But does Georgia issue free IDs for those transitioning? No.
No. People have to pay to get that back. Now, here in Augusta, we do have like places like Gap Ministries where they will help people get their ID. They'll help people get their birth certificate free of charge. And they do a pretty good job. Like some of our women in our home use Gap Ministries to get those things.
Okay.
But without Gap Ministries, they would have had to pay.
Wow. I thought that the city or state, because I know in some areas they do provide them with that.
No, at least not here in Augusta from what I've seen. They don't give them free IDs. They don't try to help them get identification. Because if you can't get identification, what else you can't get?
A job.
And if you can't get a job, what else can't you do?
Money.
And if you ain't got no money, what you finna do?
I'm going back to the streets, baby. All right. Put me on. Put me on. Now, there is something else I wanted to talk to you about, and you brought it up earlier. Mm-hmm. It is ban
the box.
All right, so I heard a little something about that, but I need you to break it down for me. So what is that?
Okay, so ban the box essentially is so back in the day, I say back in the day, like early 2000s. Early 2000s.
Do you hear that, Tad? Back in the day.
Early 2000s, guys. On the job applications used to have, are you a convicted felon, or have you been convicted of a felony?
Okay.
And you didn't have to answer the question, but most, again, if you don't, they got background.
They already know if you don't answer it.
Yeah. And so when people would answer that question, a lot of people would find that they weren't getting the job, or they weren't getting the interview. Mm-hmm. And so with ban the box is this policy that job applications no longer get to ask that.
Really?
Yeah. So if you look at any job application, especially here in Georgia, you won't see it. Now, if you go to other places, maybe like California, I believe, and one of the M states on the Eastern Seaboard.
Okay, maybe Maine or something.
Yeah, one of them. You go. They may have it on their application still.
But for the most part, it's all.
Yeah, it's all off.
Okay.
Right. And so that is to ensure that people don't feel targeted when they're doing their application, and it's easier for them to fill it out.
Right.
But what we have seen, some people say that some of the issues they have come with ban the box is, yes, I don't have to check off, but you're gonna run my background. Mm-hmm. And if you run my background, then what?
Right.
So, like, even if I don't get the job, it may be because of my background, but you could
say it.
You could, I just didn't like how you interviewed. Right. And so, I know here in Augusta they are developing a work group surrounding the ban the box policy, because what they are trying to do is figure out a way to address what happens after the application, which is the background.
The background.
Part. So we are trying to figure out, like, how can we work with employers here in Augusta to be mindful of people who have backgrounds and to not hold that against them.
Right.
We are also working, like, or they're looking to work policy-wise to kind of create this protected class.
Right. That's what I was thinking as well. Like, Maybe if one of the charges were something that doesn't pertain to that line of work, maybe that doesn't show up.
So actually, with the Senate bill that I mentioned earlier, I gotta get the number, y'all, because I really feel like I'd be doing y'all dirty by not giving it to y'all. It is.
See, listen, research. It's all about the research. She said she just not gonna put a bill out there. She gonna give you the bill number.
Yeah, I need you to have the bill number. So it's Senate Bill 207. And this particular bill actually is when it comes to obtaining licensure. So before, people could get denied simply because they were on parole or probation.
Okay, wow. Simply
because of that. So now this Senate bill keeps people who do have a conviction from being disqualified. It forces them to say, like, hey, your conviction has nothing to do with the license you're trying to get.
Right.
So we can't deny you anymore. You know, so this particular bill says, you know what? We'll let you get your license, you know, because this right here is for nursing, but what you did ain't have nothing to do with medicine or, you know. And so that's the good thing about it. We do have things like that happening, but that's at a state level. Right? And so people need relief nationally.
Right.
And so I think part of what a lot of organizations in the justice impacted sphere are trying to do, all of us are trying to pick our lane and our role so that we can all do our best to ensure that we're reducing barriers across organizations, right?
Right.
So ReNForce, we do a lot of the reentry work, a lot of the community work, right? But then you have other organizations here in Augusta that do more policy work, tailored to justice impacted people, which is why you have the work group that they're talking about, that they're doing here in Augusta for Ban the Box. They do more policy. We do more reentry work.
Right. Okay.
And then when both of our works are amplified together or come together, imagine how many barriers we're able to reduce for people, because they're doing the policy.
Right.
And we're making sure you're doing career development. We're making sure you get your mental health help. We're making sure, like, hey, do you need housing? Because we can help you find some.
Right.
You know? And so we do all the things so that when people come out, they have what they need, not just locally, but also policy-wise, so they can go get that job. They can go into those rooms that they were banned from before.
So what are some myths that people think about, you know, people that re-entry and transition? What are some myths that people think that's not true?
I would say the biggest one is that they want charity. They do not. They do not want you to give them a job. They want to work for it. They want to come and get the interview. They want to kill the interview, and they want you to hire them based off of merit. They don't want you to simply say, oh, man, you just got out, here's $20. Right. No, like, what can I do to make these $20? Right. So they don't like being charity. I think another myth is that a lot of times these people who are incarcerated come out, and they come out thinking of committing another crime. Right. They don't. Most of them come home trying to figure out, one, how can I get back with my family? And two, what can I do to keep myself from going back? I'm not gonna say everybody does, right? But an overwhelming majority do. They don't come out looking to go back, right? Essentially,
they're like, oh, I'm out now. Yeah. All right, who can arrive?
Yeah, so I can go back right now. Nobody's thinking that. And also, I have learned that a lot of people who are reentering, they are probably some of the most gentlest and nicest people you come across. And a lot of people would assume that because the way you have to live incarcerated is the antithesis to how we live, that they would come out hard. They don't. Because they form community in there. They build brotherhood and sisterhood in there. And they learn to start seeing past people's conviction. What we struggle with, they don't. Right. Because they're sitting in there. Imagine you, like me, I went to jail. You want to know I went to jail? Why? A traffic ticket. Literally a traffic ticket. And don't y'all be trying to look up my mugshot, okay?
Really?
Yes, a traffic ticket sent me. Don't y'all be looking at it, because I was crying really, really, really bad, okay?
They will send you to jail for a traffic ticket?
They can send you to jail for anything. Yes, they sent me to jail for a traffic ticket.
What is it, one you forgot to pay, or what was it?
It's a long story. No, it's fine. But, no, I can tell y'all. It's actually just a long-winded story. So I say it like this. I should have got the traffic ticket. I should have. I was doing a 107 and a 70. Okay.
Well, sometimes if you got a car and it's just riding smooth, you like, oh, wow. Yeah. I didn't know.
Yeah. It was riding smooth, but I knew.
Okay.
I knew.
Look at that accountability.
I knew. But long story short story long, when I went to court for it, the officer tried to say I didn't have insurance on my vehicle. That wasn't true. I did have it. So the Solicitor General saw that and they said, girl, you did have insurance on your car, but drop all your charges. I just need the insurance company to send the information.
Right.
By end of day, they sent it at 5:03. He needed it at 5 o'clock. So I had to come back. And at the time I was in college, poor. And where I got the ticket, that was like an hour and 45 from where I lived. I ain't got no money. I ain't got no gas. So I called the court. I had said, hey, can we please reschedule? I'm young. I don't know any better. I have never really engaged in the criminal legal system before. The lady was like, yeah, I got you. And I thought that was all it was to it.
Right.
Until I got pulled over and they said, no, you missed your court date for and you are in trouble for failure to appear. So we're taking you to jail for that traffic ticket and for your failure to appear.
How long did you have to stay?
Okay, now. That's why I say my story a bit different. I wasn't there that long. So they probably arrested me like...
But a day is too long.
It wasn't a full day. It was almost a full day. Okay. So technically I went to jail two times for the same ticket.
So did you have like a welcome home party or you wasn't locked up long enough?
I wasn't locked up long enough for that. I want to say they arrested me at 12 a.m. Like literally 12 a.m. on the dot. I'm coming home from work. They got me on my way home from work. They got me at 12. I think my daddy was able to come get me at 9 p.m. You don't understand. When I tell you they felt so bad for me, because, everybody get one phone call. Right. They gave me about 30. Every 5 minutes, I'm saying, please, I just know they up now.
I know they up, right. Oh, my God.
Yeah, and so even then, just like I say small, but they tell me it's not. But my brief experience in the criminal legal system, I understood just how easy it was for people to get caught up. Yep. Because even then, so that was when I was in a holding cell. I had to go back to jail because I didn't understand how probation worked. So I got in trouble because I didn't know. I thought I just had community service. So I thought I just had to do the community service.
You didn't know about you having to pay the...
Didn't know nothing about it until I didn't pay them. And then I found out that they had a warrant out for my arrest. I said, why? Right. And they were like, oh, well, you don't have to get arrested if you just pay me $1,000. I am broke and in college.
Listen, y'all trying to force me to commit some type of crime, okay?
Yes. But they were like, well, if you can't pay that, well, this is what you can do. You can come over to jail and stay overnight. Just stay overnight and then we'll let you see the judge. And the judge should give you probation again. Maybe. Maybe not. Thank goodness the judge was lenient and did give me probation. But there were some people in that courtroom who didn't get it. Wow. And I learned I just understand how people's minds can change drastically. Like me being just in the cell for maybe 24 hours. Right. I couldn't tell you the time. Yeah. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you if we ate that day or not. I couldn't tell if it was the same day or a new day. Right. And I was only in there for a day.
So just imagine being in there months, years.
Yes. So I understood when you hear them bars close. Right. That's a real sound.
It get real, huh?
When you realize you can't walk out that room.
Right.
I realized then, I said, man, I ain't built for jail.
I ain't built for this, right.
Call me what you want. I ain't built.
Now, I know one other thing I wanted to talk to you about was the S.P.L.O.S.T 9. Mm-hmm. Vote no. Yes. So you got to break it down because typically when I see that, I'm like, oh yes, that looks like that's for a good cause. That's beneficial. Mm-hmm. So why is there an initiative to vote no on S.P.L.O.S.T 9?
Okay, so ReNForce, we started the Block the Build campaign. We call it Block the Build to Build the Block. It's a 2-pronged campaign, right? Okay. And we did it surrounding S.P.L.O.S.T 9 because in S.P.L.O.S.T 9, there is money allocated to the sheriff's office to expand the jail. They're saying they need to expand the jail because it's overcrowded.
Okay, that's fair.
That's
right?
fair.
All right.
That's fair. It's overcrowded and the conditions are bad.
Right.
That is fair. I agree with them to that extent, right? But on its face, it looks like, yes, we should expand.
Absolutely, yeah.
But then when you peel the layers back, you start to realize, Because, so the entire S.P.L.O.S.T package is worth either $400 million or a little bit of over $400 million. Okay. What people don't realize about S.P.L.O.S.T is they can put projects all throughout S.P.L.O.S.T for plenty of different things. But once we vote yes on those projects, on that S.P.L.O.S.T package, they can wipe out all them projects and say we ain't gonna do none of them.
Really?
Yes. So when they talk about expanding the jail, we could vote yes because we want them to fix the roads, fix the flood, and they promise every S.P.L.O.S.T package. And they could then say, actually, we're not going to do that. We're just going to funnel all this money to the jail expansion. They could do that, right?
Who holds them accountable for them to allocate the funds based off of what was stated in the S.P.L.O.S.T package or the S.P.L.O.S.T bill?
The same people who held them accountable about that water park.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We ain't seen that.
We ain't seen it, right? Because nobody holds them accountable. There is no mechanism of checking to make sure that they keep to their word. Because they don't have to.
Now, when we say they, who are we talking about?
The commission. So when I say they, I'm talking specifically about the commission. I know that the mayor, with his new vote, he looks like he's a part of the commission. Right. But he technically is not a part of the commission. So when they did the S.P.L.O.S.T package, he did agree to pass it. I think it was a unanimous vote to pass the S.P.L.O.S.T package. But mainly the people who are mainly over the S.P.L.O.S.T would be the commission. So nobody's holding the commission accountable. Like, what accountability measures do you see outside of S.P.L.O.S.T for the commission?
Right. Now, and excuse my ignorance, but are there, when they have their commission meetings, are there discussions about S.P.L.O.S.T and the progress of it or whatnot? Because if we don't see anything being done with what you said you were going to do with the S.P.L.O.S.T, then if I'm in District 5, then I'm going to call my commissioner like, hey, what's going on? And demand some answers.
If you go on the city's page now, they have a dashboard page, and the dashboard shows you the breakdown of the past S.P.L.O.S.T packages. I believe they have 8 and 7 up right now on the dashboard, and you can see what has been paid and what hasn't been paid. I encourage everybody, go look at that dashboard. Look me in my eyes, camera right here. Look me in my eyes. Go look at that S.P.L.O.S.T dashboard, and then you come find me and tell me what you found. Because I assure you, when you go look at that dashboard, you're going to be like, wait a minute, they ain't even spent all the money from this S.P.L.O.S.T. And they got it, so why are you asking me for more?
Wow.
And I could break down some for instance, I'll break it down.
Break it down.
For instance, like in S.P.L.O.S.T 7, you'll see that there was $6 million allocated to the sheriff's office for vehicles. Okay? That's up for debate whether they need them or not, because they just asked for more vehicles from the city. They just got more vehicles from the city. They got some from the state.
Right.
How many vehicles do you need?
Right.
But I'm not, hey, I get it, right?
That's a lot of money for vehicles.
That's a lot of money for vehicles. And $6 million is actually a smaller number, because in S.P.L.O.S.T 9, they asking for about almost $10 million for vehicles.
Now, can we check to see if they spend all the money from S.P.L.O.S.T 7?
Oh, yeah, on the dashboard. And when you see it on the dashboard, each project, you can click on it, and it'll tell you the breakdown of it, like if it started, if it hasn't started, how much of it has been spent out, and all the things. So you'll see where it says, like, for the $6 million for the sheriff's office, you'll see that it says $6 million has been allocated. And last time I looked, it was a little under $2 million that had been given out. So there's still money there for sheriff's vehicles.
Wow.
But they asking for more money from us.
Now, how can we find out what's all included in the S.P.L.O.S.T package?
So you can actually go to the city's website and click the S.P.L.O.S.T tab. Underneath there, it'll show you all the presentations from the different departments, because this is a public safety S.P.L.O.S.T.
Okay.
So all the public safety departments came, did a presentation at the commission, and said, this is what we need and why.
Okay.
So you'll see all the presentations that they have on there, what they're asking for, why they asked for it. You'll see the proposed S.P.L.O.S.T 9 list. Well, let's not say the proposed S.P.L.O.S.T 9 list, just the S.P.L.O.S.T 9 list in general. You'll see that there, and you'll see how much is being allocated to that. So, like, they break it down in sections. Okay. They'll tell you this particular department gets 20% of the budget. And this 20% is equal to X amount of dollars. So one thing I will say is if you know where to look, you'll find your information.
Right.
The city, because legally, they got to.
They have to.
So it's out there. People just have to go. All people have to do is know where to look.
All right, so let me ask you this then, Lakeland. Why are we voting no?
You vote no because when we talk about expanding the jail, we have money to expand the jail, right? But we don't have money to invest into our parks and recreation programs. And why is that important? So, have you heard of the school to prison pipeline? Okay, so let's just put this in local context. They build and expand prisons and jails based off of third grade reading levels. How we know that at least 75% of our kids graduating high school cannot read and cannot read on grade level and cannot comprehend.
Right.
So imagine by third grade how many beds were built into jails and prisons based off of that. So in my mind, the reason why I say we vote no is because I just see this as, oh, y'all are intentionally going after our education system so that you can attack our youth. Because who else we going to put in them beds?
Right.
If you expand it and those, because people going to have to leave at some point because jail is temporary. Jail and prison are not the same.
Right.
You serve your sentence in prison, jail is just to hold you until you go to trial and you get your judgment. If people are going to be leaving, who is going to take their spot? Because they have to justify the expansion of the jail. So even if they say, oh, we need to expand it because we foresee for the next 5 years we're going to have an increase. They will only do a temporary unit.
Right.
But the fact that they're making it permanent means that they understand that they are going to have enough bodies to fill it.
Wow. So, okay, vote no on S.P.L.O.S.T, but what do we do as an alternative? Or just vote no on S.P.L.O.S.T? Or vote no on S.P.L.O.S.T 9, then what?
I love when people ask these types of questions because voting no on S.P.L.O.S.T 9, because when you vote no, the commission needs S.P.L.O.S.T 9 to pass, right? Because S.P.L.O.S.T is part of how the city gets its money.
Okay.
We don't have that many revenue streams here in the city. So if we vote no on S.P.L.O.S.T, it forces the commissioners to have to go back to the drawing table and put projects on that list that we want.
That we would approve. Okay.
Yes. And so with ReNForce, to figure out what those projects could be and where the money should go, we're putting out a community needs survey. We've been circulating it around, asking people, what would you do? Where would you put the money? Where do you feel our communities have the greatest need?
But it's within a certain, certain confines of, it has to be used for this, right? Or can it be used for anything?
S.P.L.O.S.T projects are called capital projects. A capital project is anything that gives a city usage of it for at least 2 years or more. You see how vague that is?
Right.
Because they can use that, because a sheriff's car, or a police officer's car, more specifically, that's considered a capital project. A capital project could be, you know what, we want to build another community center. A capital project could be, we want to build an ice cream shop for the community.
Right.
A capital project could be anything that they feel like will give the city some usage for at least 2 years. And so when we talk about the projects that are on the list, like how do we figure out which ones should be there and which ones aren't?
Right.
That's a people thing, you know what I'm saying?
How do we just say me, you, and Tad, we come up with a great idea, like, listen, we need more of X in the city. And we think that some of those S.P.L.O.S.T dollars should be allocated to that. How do we try to get that on the S.P.L.O.S.T proposal list to where they will even consider it?
I think the easiest answer would be to talk to your commissioner. Okay. Which is why it's important to know who your commissioners are, especially because we're in the midst of an election, and the commissioners may change.
Right.
So it's important to stay abreast of that and also during election season, when you want something done, that's when you start talking to them. Because they're going to start moving. They're going to start moving quicker than you've ever seen them move, right? And so I would say ask your commissioner, but also things like I said, with the survey that we're doing, because we're actively sitting down with commissioners. We're talking to the mayor. We're talking to other elected officials saying this is what people want. Right. Not what ReNForce suggests, because we know where we think the money should go. Right. But this is also what people are saying too. So how can we ensure that the needs of people are met and the city gets what they want? Cause I know it's gonna have to be a little give and take.
Right.
They need what they need. They gotta make their constituents happy. They need to get reelected. We understand that. But how can we put projects on the list that the people of Augusta want to see?
Okay.
And so that I would say we talk so y'all can fill out our survey. Okay.
Where would they go?
So actually, you can go to ReNForce's our social media page, like on Facebook and all the things. You'll see it there. Also, you can follow me on my personal page. I'm probably a little corny, but
that's okay. She got information. Yeah. She got knowledge. Okay?
Yeah. You can find it on my page.
What's your page?
Just Lakeland Barnes, my name, guys.
And you don't know too many people named Lakeland.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be 100 different Lakelands that pop up.
Yeah.
It might be 2. Her and probably one in Wisconsin.
Oh, no. Okay. You might find somebody. Actually, what you'll see somebody named Lakeland from Lakeland, Florida.
Okay. Yeah.
You'll see that pop up.
Right.
But yeah, you'll find the survey from there. And also, we have a petition going around to get people to pledge to vote no.
Okay.
And the reason why we did this petition isn't simply because I just need people to sign something.
Right.
When you are dealing with a disenfranchised group of people, you have to learn to exercise that muscle. Mm-hmm. So you signing that pledge is the first step to exercising that muscle. So that when you get to election day, it's not a hard task or hard ask for you to go do that. Because you've done small things like sign the petition, register to vote, like actually filled it out, not online.
Right.
Taking these small things. And so you can, if you sign our petition, you automatically get the link sent to you. Like I said, go find us on ReNForce.org. Find us on ReNForce on Facebook, TikTok, all the things. And you'll also see the survey there too.
Wow. Listen, you are a wealth of knowledge. And I need time to digest all of this stuff. Yeah. I mean, this was really some good stuff. So thank you for coming on down the hall.
No, thank you for having me.
To hop on the podcast, man, because you're making me think about things I hadn't even considered before. So what if somebody wanted to kind of help support the cause and the mission of ReNForce? Is there a place for people to volunteer, donate anything on the website?
Yeah, so if you go to ReNForce.org, we have space on there for you to donate. Again, we are a nonprofit.
Okay.
Non-profit.
Unlike the probation officers.
Exactly. They are for-profit. They get them coins.
Right.
We have place on there for you to donate. We also have places where you can donate your clothes, because we have a transitional home for women. So if you have clothes, if you have shoes, please, you can come down to our office and give us that. If you want to volunteer, there's also like a little tab on there that you can click volunteer. You'll give us your information. We do different events like our simulation. They could have volunteered there.
Right.
We also have like a community fun day coming up. You can volunteer there. We just have lots of events that we would love for people to be a part of, to be behind the scenes to make it happen. Right. But also so that you can come and get information.
Yep.
Because what we find is like when people decide that they want to volunteer, they are more than likely also wanting to come to get information, to gain knowledge, to actually like figure some things out.
Right.
They ain't just coming to volunteer just because it's nice.
Yeah.
And so please, please, please go to our website, ReNForce.org. You can also, like I said, find me on social media. If you cannot find the website, if it's not popping up for you, find me. I'll direct you to it. And as always, if you have any questions, reach out to me as well, because I love explaining stuff to people. Because I think the more people know, the more questions they can ask.
Absolutely.
And when you ask questions, you get some understanding.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
Okay, well, listen, we're going to make sure y'all's website pop up, all right? We have to make sure that Focus take a look to make sure that y'all good, because people have to be able to reach y'all.
Yes, sir.
But I definitely want you to come back on, maybe sometime after the election to see, what the results of the S.P.L.O.S.T 9 was and things like that, and just kind of keep us abreast of some of the things that you guys are doing.
Absolutely. And one last thing. I'm doing an election day bracket.
Okay.
I'm going to do an election day bracket, and I'm going to explain to people what each race, I'm doing commentary on each race to help people understand why each race is important. But also the bracket is to show people like, if this happens, if this person wins, this is what happens to the commission. If this person wins mayor and these people win commission, this is what we can expect from our commission. right?
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, so I can't wait to actually do that on election day so we can talk about it so people can also understand like, hey, buddy.
Right.
If this person wins, this is how it affects the entire city.
I think that's where we lack. Mm-hmm. We just, I saw their name on the billboard. Okay.
And that's the problem, man. We gotta do a little bit more deep diving, but I think that we also, like, people don't want to deep dive into politics. It's too much. Right. So,
but if you make it plain and simple, it's like, listen, if this happened, you can expect this. I think, that's basic enough so people will really understand. Yeah. All right, listen, you got to promise to come back. We appreciate you. Don't forget, on the way home, no speeding, okay?
I don't learn my lesson, baby. Ain't no more speeding. No more.
All right, listen, that's going to do it for us, man. We're going to wrap up another edition of Talkin' the Town podcast. We will be back next week, and we'll be sitting down with somebody moving, shaking, and doing things in the city. All right, it's your boy, Chillz. I'm officially out the building.